everybody, welcome to Hang Time. I am here with the fabulous Greg Anderson, All-Australian, Magarey medalist, 103 games for Essendon, 150 games for Port Adelaide, and he had a couple for the Crows as well.
Just a couple.
Just jumped around a little bit, mate. You sound like you're easy to buy. Hey, Ando, thanks for coming on, mate.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's go back to the start, mate. Woody High for you. Well, I guess it was St Michael's before Woody High, was it?
Yeah, I started St Michael's in grade 3 and very passionate about my SMC, and got to year 12 and I was started playing league footy, and the headmaster gave me the ultimatum that I either keep playing first 18 or I have to leave the school to continue my career at Port Adelaide. So hence I'd done my last couple of terms at Woodville High. So it was a tough decision because it's such an important year, but I had been playing first 18 since second year, and wow, I mean, Phil, I'm playing in front of. My first game I played in front of 20,000 people against Sturt at Footy Park, and then they expected me in a few weeks' time to go and play down at perhaps down at Pembroke or something like that, and in front of a few mums and dads.
I could see it was difficult. Headmaster didn't really think it out that well, did he?
But he was from interstate. It was his first year, and it was just the way it was, and but it was for me very unfair, because it was such an important year.
Well, you're 17 years old, 1983.
16.
16,
yeah,
16, yeah. 1983, you played Sturt. What can you remember from the game?
Oh, well, I mean, I got to go back a couple of days earlier when Russell Levitt came up to me.
The great man.
I was just, it was like, I've just grabbed my boots out of the boot room.
Yep.
And Russell's come up to me and said, Greg, I'm going to play in the half-forward flank this week. And I thought, well, I played in the reserves on the wing last week. Does that mean he wants going to play me on the half-forward flank on the reserve this week? So I'm not really sure. And I think my eyes gave it away. He said, yes, you're going to play league footy this week. And I just couldn't believe it. I mean, my God, my whole life was just supporting Port Adelaide Footy Club. We lived at Cheltenham, just across the railway line from Albion Oval. My dad played, I think 100 reserve games for Port. My grandfather played for reserve support as well. So our whole family. So to think I can actually lace up this Guernsey in a league game, it was honestly a dream come true. And it was really funny because I knew it wasn't far away.
Yeah.
Because I played some good games in Resi. I played some really good trials, prior to the season. But when he actually said you're playing league footy this week, I just couldn't believe it, and we played Sturt at Footy Park, and I remember running out and seeing Rick Davies and Jimmy Jerrington and Neil Craig and Peter Motley and Frankie Spiel, and on my side I've got the great Russ Levitt, Brian Cunningham, Tony Giles, Paul Belton, Timmy Evans, Craig Bradley. I'm running out with household names, and my heroes.
Of course, yes.
We're down at half time. And we got up and won. We got up and won by about 3 or 4 goals. And I just never forget going back to the club. The club is absolutely packed. I'm just a 16-year-old sitting in the corner, just drinking raspberry lemonade. Just saying, should I be here? So it was just, it was just absolutely fantastic. A memory that, really dear to my heart.
Well, mate, and you don't have to wait long. So the next year, mate, 1984, you're in the grand final against Norwood.
Yeah, that was it was like all of a sudden, bang! I'm playing a grand final. Because it was funny you say that, because a couple of years earlier, I went to the footy with a few lads from schools, and we bumped into one of the lads' parents, and one of the parents said, "Oh, Greg, it won't be long before you playing a grand final for Port Adelaide." And I thought, "Oh yeah, as if." Yeah. And funny, 3 years later, there I am running out in the ground, and unfortunately we lost that game, but it was a great game. You know what I mean? It was just one of those that it was right down the wire. Probably a couple of errors at Port Adelaide that cost us.
Yeah.
It was sold out. It was completely sold out within an hour. We're playing Norwood. It's a Norwood Grand Final.
Traditional rivals.
It was just wonderful to be part of, but very, very sad, to lose the game. But as you know, in sport, you think, oh well, we'll do it next year. Can't wait for next year's grand final. But it took a long time.
It takes a while to get it.
But so it was a great day, and we lost it.
Mate, a lot happened for you young in your career. So you're already at 16, you're playing state footy.
Yeah.
A year later, you're playing in a grand final.
Yeah.
3 years later, at 20, you win a Magarey medal.
Yeah.
Can you take us through the Magarey medal moment, mate?
Well, the year earlier, or 2 years earlier than that, I played my first state game in '84. Yep. So I'm 17 years old. I think it was on my 18th birthday.
Yep.
And I'm running out with Kernahan, Bradley. Our Rovers was Antrobus, Nayley, McGuinness, You know, I mean, some of the.
Biggest names.
Johnny Platten.
Oh, Platten.
That was the four Rovers.
We'll come back to
you know,
Platten
so
in a
we've got
minute.
it's an amazing side. You look at the other side, and you got the Van der Haar, and you got Chris Mew. You got all these legends, Dermot Brereton, and you got Dippo. You got all these legends from Victoria that you only sort of see on TV a little bit in those days. All we had was the winners.
Yep.
But the one thing I'll never forget was running out of the race and looking down the southern end, and there was 10 cheer squads together. And I've never felt so proud of being a South Australian.
Yeah, okay.
Never felt so proud. Because I get booed. I was getting booed, like every week from the opposition. And all of a sudden,
they're all united.
We're all united. It was just, and I know you had that, week in, week out when you're coaching and playing, of course, with the basketball. But it was just something really unique for a young kid
of course.
Oh my God, I'm in a stateside. I shouldn't be here. I know I probably shouldn't be here, but I'm playing with the legends.
Did you have the same feeling you shouldn't have won the McGarry medal then? Mate, so far we've established you shouldn't have been at school. You've done a lot of things you shouldn't have done, mate.
I should still be at school. Yeah. That's what I should be.
Maybe you can get back in.
It was a year that
because the McGarry medal back then, mate. Sorry to cut you off. It was massive. It was like
massive,
winning the Brownlow. I mean,
yeah.
Unfortunately, we know things have changed, and not downplaying the McGarry medal, but back then when you win it, that was you're the toast of the state.
It was absolutely amazing, and I'll never forget because I got knocked out the day before, and so I got to the McGarry medal quite late because we had to play the next final the following Saturday, and so I got there sort of relatively late, and they called out all the votes, and I was leading, and they said I thought they said there was 30 votes to go. So I'm counting it, and I'm still in front, and I thought, okay, there's 30, okay, that's 19, there's 20, there's 10 more to go. And they said, congratulations, Greg Anderson, from Port Adelaide, you won the McGarry medal. And I'm going, so here everyone kept slapping me on the back saying, well, and I'm thinking, hang on, I think they still got 10 to go. But he actually said 20 when I watched the replay. So it was just fantastic. Because
who was runner-up?
Andrew Pays.
Fair
from
player.
West Torrens, great player, a great friend, and just a super guy. And he also played some great state footy as well, and we come very close with that as well. So it was an incredible night because you are right. All of a sudden you're representing Port Adelaide as a McGarry medalist out in the football world of South Australia because that's all we knew. So it was a little bit of responsibility as well, you know. But I never forget going home. And I had a lot of the Port players sort of went back to mum and dad's because I was living at home then. And I remember getting in because Russell drove me to the McGarry and also back. And I never forget getting out of the car, and it was like one of those little movies, it was like this. There was 4 vans that were there, and they just all jumping out with cameras. I thought, geez, what's going on? I didn't know what was going on. I thought I was getting attacked by, going to get thrown in one of these combi vans, and away I go. So it was a great memory. Great memory. Yeah.
And driving home with Russ, mate, you say, "Well done on getting one. I've got the 4."
He brought that up a couple of times. I remember him actually saying, there's 5 McGarry medals in this car.
Yeah, and well done, you've got one.
You've got one.
Hey, mate, it wasn't long after that. Become all Australian.
Yeah.
So, we talk about it in other sports that playing for your country, representing your country, that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah,
it kind of wasn't so much that way. It was more South Australia v Victoria was the bigger event.
Huge event.
All Australian, did it?
Yeah,
where did it sit on the, mate, I've got a McGarry, I've got a state. I mean, now it's a much bigger deal.
Look, I think it was a really big deal then as well. Because you actually, you put in a mould of, say when I played for Australia in '86.
Yes.
And all the players that you hear about, because we didn't know much about the Western Australians and the Victorians. And all of a sudden you're becoming a team. And I'll never forget singing our national anthem after we beat Ireland one of the tests, and it was really quite surreal. And it was like, it wasn't like the Wallabies winning or when you've won at the Olympics singing that. Because it was only the sort of 2 countries having a go at a sort of competition that we're taking a bit of this and taking a bit of that. But I feel it was still really nice,
Oh yeah.
But to then also in your peers to be named an All-Australian was
a great
absolutely
honour.
Wonderful. Yeah.
'88 you signed with Essendon and you're with them for 5 years. And I mean, we know more about Essendon now because we see that in the AFL, and even in the AFL, they are one of the powerful clubs.
Yeah.
If you talk about supporter base, members, finance, money, you kind of go Richmond, Essendon, Carlton, don't you? You know, I mean, now you go West Coast Crows and that, but they were the three, Collingwood, of course, the four big clubs. The expectation when you arrive at Essendon, you're still young, really.
Yeah, it was solid. It was because they also done a bit of fundraising to get me over to pay for your sort of like your transfer fees in those days. So I think they got like 100 people, X amount of people to pay $1,000 to help with, to fundraise.
Yeah.
I mean, and I actually thought that's not fair. That's not fair. These people expect me, to this, this player to take this, this big step, which they believe it was, in an instant. Because I didn't know what VFL footy was about. No, I didn't know. I mean, I'm playing state footy. Hey, we're winning state games after state games. I think, well, but I don't really know. And I've got new teammates, et cetera, et cetera. So it was a bit surreal going to the club and sort of meeting your Tim Watson, your Terry Danaher's, your Simon Manners, your Paul Van der Haars, some big names.
Massive
Glenn
names.
Hawker, Leon Baker, Roger Merritt, Mark Harvey's, Mark Thompson's. There's a star-studded side, So, but what really hit home to me was when we played, and I reckon it was round 2 or 3, another super team, and that was Collingwood, 77,000 people. And do you reckon there was some noise there? And I thought, well, this is the big.
Is it 1990 you play Collingwood in the grand final?
In the grand final,
yeah. That moment, mate. The lead up, the parade.
Yeah, the parade was magnificent. Everything was magnificent except the game.
Except the game. Yes, of course. Yeah.
But it was just, it was just fantastic. I mean, the parade and then to run at the Oval. In those years they let the balloons out, which was something I remember going to the grand final as a kid with my mum and dad and seeing all these balloons and like halfway during the game you're still seeing these balloons like little pins in the sky, and I remember running out and up they all go, and I thought, just tradition. It was just fantastic. But again, the result wasn't there, and we were favourites. We had a great year. We won the pre-season competition, and Victorians are crazy. Pre-season competition.
Yep.
There's 80,000 people there against North Melbourne.
Yeah.
80,000 people. All the fireworks going off, and I reckon by the time all the smoke cleared, it was about halfway during the second quarter. That was So it was good. But with good, unfortunately, came a little bit of disappointment.
You walk into a club like Essendon. You mentioned the names before. You're talking about your Danaher's. You're talking about your Timmy Watsons. You're talking about, and we talked about Russell Ebert before. So the great man. You've walked in and you go, just an intimidating moment to walk into the change room for you first time and go, where am I going to sit? Yeah. Was it intimidating? You come in the change room and you go, oh, there's Timmy Watson, I better sit over there. Hang on a minute, there's Danaher, well, I better sit over there. Oh, hang on, there's Harvey.
Yeah. I've never met them.
Were they good?
They were great. I mean, what clubs are like. They're great.
It's one of the great things about footy.
The thing, I'd never met them because, you got your commitments at Port Adelaide and I met them a little bit with state footy and I'll never forget Terry Danaher, it was Australia versus Ireland and he was our captain. And he said, Greg Sills coming over, I know you're signing with Essendon Footy Club. Fantastic. He put his hand out. And so I knew Spitter Walsh, he was in the Australian team, Terry Danaher, and I think Van der Haar. Now, they were the only three that I sort of knew. So I sort of clung to them once I walked into the club. And first training session, there's not like today's footy. There's 60 players there.
Yeah.
And I'm going, well, not only I'm the new kid on the block, I've got to make myself. I've got to get in this side. I'm expected to get in this side. So. It was a little bit daunting, and it took a while to get to know a few of the players, and it's a whole new change of life. I always lived with my mum and dad. All of a sudden, I live with silly Mark Harvey, which is I regret that. Wonder I had a slow start of my career.
It took you a while to get going. It was a fabulous 5 years. It was one of the powerhouses at the time. Well, they are now, of course, in the AFL. Yeah. Then you decide it's time to come home. Yeah. Come back, play with the Crows. What made you decide to come back?
I love state footy. I'm really proud of South Australia. I'm crazy. I mean, my biggest argument with Paul Sanders, one of my best friends, was he would say they got a great cricketer Dean Jones. I'd say, hey, we've got Susan Bradman. He'd say, oh, we've got so and so. I'd say we've got Phil Smyth.
Yeah.
He'd say, I was terrible.
You're losing
I'm
argument
terrible.
quickly there, but
Glennis Nunn. I'm terrible. Bands, I'm AC/DC. So it was it was just the opportunity to I suppose represent South Australia, one team, one town, week in, week out, and I loved it. The first year was fantastic, and unfortunately we got beaten by the Bombers too in that prelim. We were 42 points up, and everything sort of fell apart. We missed really easy goals, and we got beaten out of the square. But as we know, that's football. But it was just really special to be home and special to play in front of my mum and dad because I was sort of coming towards the end of my career.
Yep.
And on that,
well, it wasn't really quite at the end, mate, because don't you get the Foss Williams medal in State of Origin against WA?
I did too.
I got that one. Sorry, I forgot that. So you weren't going too bad at that time,
I had a few more state games.
Yeah, let me help you out, mate. But you're really passionate about State of Origin. I know you and I have had this conversation over the journey, and whenever I say to you, would you like to see State of Origin back? You're like straight up, we've got to get it back. We've got to get it back.
It's got to be right. You know, I mean, I get really envious of the NRL. I mean, ours is our. I mean, I'm sure there's some NRL supporters out there saying, "What are you talking about, Ando?" Ours was special. There was something special about Victoria and South Australia's State of Origin in football. It really stopped South Australia,
absolutely,
and Victoria, and they're only football states.
Yeah,
they're only football states, and it was just, really, really fantastic. So they get it right, brilliant. If they don't, leave the memory as it is, because I don't want to tater, how fantastic that actually was. Yeah.
Mate, injuries finally get all of us.
Yeah.
Was that what got you in the end? I mean, you had that Achilles problem.
I had the Achilles. And once I had the Achilles, it really slowed me up.
56 games in with the Crows?
No, it was in the 70s. Yeah, in the 70s. And I done, and I never really recovered from that. I got actually told by the surgeon that it's probably time to give it away. And it's really funny. I started athletics as a kid, training 3, 4, 5 times a week. I was lucky enough to be coached by Dr. John Daly and Glennis Nunn, Chris Nunn, Rick Wilson. We had a fantastic squad. Peter Hadley,
some pretty good athletes and some great coaches.
Peter Don't. We had quite a few representatives of Australia. And maybe my legs just had enough, and said, well. And that's what the doctor said. So I strung out probably 2 more years of in and out, But one of the greatest memories that I've got is I played in a grand final. We beat Centrals. And I knew where my mum was, because I got a ticket. She was right at the top of the grandstand. And by the time we got our medal, someone said, "Oh, your mum's at the fence, And so I've gone over, and there's my mum.
Yeah.
Just want to give me a big hug.
It was a great moment.
And, it was interesting. My mum had a really, really tough few, 2 years of her life. And I'll never forget saying to the doctor that she just wasted away. And I said, oh my God, that's my memory of my mother is those last 3 or 4 months, and then the last 3 or 4 hours of her life. And he said to me, Greg, you'll get some great memories back. And that's the memory I got of my mother. And that's the greatest memory for me in my whole football. No question.
It's unbelievable how close they get. Hey, mate, then you decide, I'll go into coaching. Is it South Adelaide for 4 years? No, mate, look, I'll just remind you of what you've done, mate. So, no wonder you had trouble at school. You can't even remember what you've done, mate. 4 years with the Panthers.
Loved the Panthers. It was great. It was probably the last year. It was probably the crossover from where they wanted full-time coaching, and I had a business, and I just wasn't able to put in the time. But I took them when they were rock bottom, and they only just moved to Noongar, and we worked really hard to get some great sponsorships. We really worked hard off the field. Jeff Baines was one. Jeff Bevan, I really got to take my hat off to Jeff Bevan, who was the under-19 coach, really passionate Southie. What he'd done outside of outside of the actual oval was fantastic to put forward great football programs for of the outer areas. Because you lost Aberfeldy Park. We got Aldinga. To me, Aldinga is a holiday resort.
Yes.
So we're going to get our players from. So Jeff and John Griffin all of a sudden done a wonderful job introducing some great coaches in areas so players didn't have to keep coming to the south 2 or 3 times a week. So we put some great things in place. We missed out in the finals one year by percentage. The other year we missed out by a game. And I think the next 2 we sort of 7th and 8th. And
that's not the end of it, mate. Then you do some coaching in the amateur for a while. Had some success in there.
Yeah.
Should have coached the Wine Flies, mate. You would have had a lot more success.
I know, they reckon
that's all right, mate.
But we won an A-grade grand final when I was coaching Hallett Cove, the Coves. Absolutely fantastic.
They could use a bit of help at the moment, mate.
I heard that.
Go back and help
the funny thing in football is memories, and that's... And I'll never forget, we were playing Morpeth Vale. I think we'd lost 1 game all year. They'd lost 1. We beat them by 2 points to get into the grand final. We're playing them in the grand final now. At half time, we're 9 goals up.
Wow.
They kicked 4 points, we kicked 4 goals. You know, it was just amazing how we were just
One of those games.
It was just one of those games. And I'll never forget this beautiful lady. She worked at the club tirelessly. And she was a big sort of lady, no big drama, that's okay, you know. And anyway, there was all this kerfuffle going on in the forward pocket, and the coach's bench just here. So it's not very far away from where I was. And we're about, 8 or 9 goals up. There's 15 minutes to go in the last quarter. But as a coach, as you know, you don't want to let anything go. Don't give a sucker an even break. And I'm looking over at the forward pocket, and she's singing. She goes, "The fat lady sung," and that's what she was saying. It was just so brilliant, and so it was just one of the great moments in my football coaching. I loved it.
All right, mate. We're going to put you under the pump now. Ando's rapid response, mate. So I'll just fire a question. Yeah,
great.
Quick response, mate. Favourite comedian?
It has to be Rodney Roode.
Rodney Roode.
It has to be Rodney Roode.
So, what am I thinking? What really annoys you?
Rocky Butterworth.
Favourite teacher?
I'd have to be Lynn Martin. Wonderful at St Michael's. It was brilliant. He'd say, "Just write that out, Greg, and cut that photo out and put that in your assignment, and I'll give you a B. That's all you'll get, but I'll give you a B." It was brilliant. He got me through.
Right. Favourite coach?
Well, I was really lucky. I love Kevin Sheedy, of course. I thought Graham Corns was absolutely wonderful, and of course, Johnny Carl. What a legend.
Right. Yeah. Dave Granger?
Dave Granger, just really sad. The club should have made him an assistant coach, then let him go out to pasture, because he's just so passionate.
Favourite toy growing up?
It had to be one of those cars that you put that little cord through, you zip it through a little
Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels.
I don't know anything about it.
I loved it. That was that one toy that Mum and Dad would take away if I was naughty. It was that one.
Okay. Yeah. What part of your personality gets you into trouble?
Saying yes and agreeing too easily.
All right.
Yeah.
Favourite place you visited?
I'd have to say Cinque in Italy. Loved it. Just recently got back there and just beautiful. Amalfi Coast was just wonderful.
Hard to leave.
Still hard to go past the Barossa, especially when they have a couple of red wines. As you know, you're
not a red wine drinker, mate, but I have driven the car that you've been in. Leader or a follower?
I'm probably a little bit of a follower. Yeah, I think I'm probably more that skewed rather than a leader. Yeah.
What do you eat in the movie theatre?
Popcorn every time.
Yep.
It's got to be popcorn. Yeah.
You're a movie star. Who are you?
Well, my hair.
If you say Brad Pitt, I'm leaving, mate. Seriously.
My hair, Brad Pitt. My ability, Rodney Roode.
If you could choose your own nickname, what would it have been?
It's hard. That's got me.
Got you on that one.
Yeah. Played against Sam.
Played against Sam. You know when you're sitting with someone, and you do it, mate. We interview people, and you watch the actions that they. I'm sitting here, I'm watching you go, like that, mate. That hair just blow up, and I know you're doing it just to annoy me.
I am.
So I want you to let you know,
it's
mate.
It's a really bad habit, but also my hair is long.
You're not having a crack at me. I thought you were having a go, mate.
No, I wasn't at all. I mean, it's been crazy. I've been stirred up with that my whole life. My teachers say, Greg, go and get your hair cut. You keep blowing it out of your fringe, out of your eyes from your fringe. And I'm still doing it today.
Yeah, no teacher ever said that to me.
No.
So anyway, hey, Greg Anderson, our special guest, Air Diffusion Agencies, our great sponsor.
Brilliant.